My voice loud enough?
Yep, you sound good.
Oh, good, good. Okay. Oh, good. We have new people. Okay, good. All right. So let me begin. Okay, I am the chair of the Capital Budget Committee. And I think we could begin by having everybody introduce themselves, people who are on the committee and I guess people who are on the community board. Um, Lloyd is on the committee, and so is Del Teague, who's going to be joining us. Santi is the chair of the search committee, right? Santi, you are
No. Outreach and Community Issue Committee.
yes. So what's important is that when I had the meeting with the liaison, oh, here's Del Teague. We talked.
Sorry, I had some trouble. I had to try a couple of times.
Okay, let me begin again. Okay, I'm the chair, Gina Barrows, the chair of the Capital Budget Committee, and we were introducing ourselves. So maybe we can go around and everybody can introduce themselves first. Lloyd?
Hi, folks. This is Lloyd. I'm a community board member of the Capital Budget Committee. I live on Lorimer and Tenike, just to give folks a sense of where I'm situated. And I'll pass it over to Sante.
Yes, Gina said I'm the chair of the Outreach and Community Issue Committee, and I was invited to come over by Gina, and we sit with Gina also in the SLA Review Committee, and and you know me, so.
I invited Santi because the last time I had a WebEx meeting with the liaison of capital budget and expense, they asked, are you working with the outreach committee? And I said, yes, we do have an outreach committee and we're working together. Okay.
I'll say more later, Gina, so I let others speak.
Yes, Del?
Okay, so hi, I'm Del Teague. I'm the chair of the Land Use Committee, and I'm a member of this committee. And I don't know, really don't have much else to say.
I think what's important is that you're very familiar with the capital budget and expense committee because you've been on it for many years prior to
yeah, I've been on this committee for a while now. Yeah.
Eric is here. Eric?
Hi, Eric Rosades, Transportation Committee Chair. District needs statement, long-suffering figure outer. And Paul Calderborn was going to try to join tonight too. And so I'm just kind of listening in to kind of move that process forward before we recess for the summer. So thanks, and that's it.
Okay. And then there's Chair Fuller, Chairperson Fuller is here. Okay, so okay, so as I was saying, the district needs statement was just completed and published and uploaded today onto the Brooklyn Community Board website. And the updated report that was submitted was added to the district needs statement. And I'm going to briefly highlight the district needs statement and then talk about the review that some of us have reviewed the statement at this point. The district needs statement is a window into our neighborhood that proposes the capital and expense budget items to be improved. We have 28 expense items that are prioritized, and we have 40 capital budget items that are prioritized. It gives the community board a voice in the budget process, especially this year, since these submissions are going to a new administration, a new mayor, and a new council member. They've been a year, which they're still new, and this is the first opportunity for us to work with them this year on this district needs statement. Okay, it also is used to engage agencies, elected officials, council people, and community-based organizations. And it's a statement that can be used throughout the year. I have created an Excel file where I highlighted the agencies we're working with, the committees on the community board that we're working with, and the district needs statements for each committee. And what I've been working on is trying my best to work with all the committees so they can work on their district needs statement, and we would be working together in bringing together, making sure that we're highlighting the district needs statements that we are advocating for. We're following up to see the funding on those request items, and we're looking to revise and make changes if they need to be made. Okay, so today I think we have looked at the agency responses, and there are generic responses. There's like 3 responses, and I looked through them, and I felt that the responses, the majority of the responses is there's no funding for the items that we requested, and some of the responses were needed more information. And then the other response was that it was not a district needs statement, an item. It did not belong in the statement. Therefore, my thought for today is to review the tools that we can use to say, look, these are the district needs statements, and understand better why there's no funding, and then follow up to see what we can do to address the reason that we are making these needs known. Why is there no funding, and what steps can we take from here to make sure by September that we do get funding for the district needs for these items? Or we can look at items and we can decide we don't want these items, we want to bring in new items. My first thought on this is that we work with the liaisons this year. And Joanna was very helpful, and we did set up a meeting with Mr. Mauricio Vasquez, who's the Associate Analyst of the Capital Plan of the New York City Planning. And he is going to have a meeting to discuss more the capital budget district needs with us. We don't have, and we don't have any of the accepted proposals, but he's going to discuss further with us. And that meeting would take place on Thursday between 2 and 3. And the committee is invited. However, if the committee is not able to come, he is very willing to come at the next district meeting that I have and do his presentation and answer some of the questions at that committee meeting. The questions I have is to further elaborate. What does this mean? There's no funding, and what more do we need to do to strengthen the district needs statement if it's too vague? And what are the next steps we need to take to make this happen? That's the other direction is to start working more with the committees. And I know I've been working with the Transportation Committee. I've reached out to the Parks Committee. And in terms of our district needs statements, we have 3 of the district needs that are priority, that we identify as priority, and that is affordable housing, parks and open space, and land use, and also transportation. So that I believe working with the committees is very important, because committees also know their district needs and they can work with us. So I'm trying to work and see how we can have that liaison. The other is to work with outreach, and that's where I reached out to Santi, who is part of the outreach committee, to see how we can work on advocating for some of these district needs that we feel need to be advocated for. And what I can do is, I think I'd like to hear further from everybody on the committee, and then I could just review some of the district needs that we have and go from there. But let me hear further from the committee then. What other ideas do you have for us to advocate for these district needs? if you had an opportunity to look at them, a lot of them said no funding. That was specifically, they need to elaborate, but that's what it said.
So this is Dell. I guess if they're saying no funding, I guess the next question we have, or at least certainly one question we have, is whether this falls in the category of one of our electeds and maybe discretionary funding. And that may be something that we want to think about.
Mhm.
I think you've done a great job, by the way, and I think the fact that you're now reaching out to the committees to find out what the needs are, and that you're reaching out to have the city explain to us, you know, what possibly we could do to maybe if there's a way of rewording or approach the request in a different way, if they would respond better. So those are my thoughts, but sometimes it's a matter of just, you know, exploring where funding, we might get funding. I'm not saying that that's always that successful, but that's the other route you can take, is try to go to an elected.
Oh, good. I think that's a very good idea. And I also believe that just because these items are on our district needs statement, sometimes the elected officials have not heard clearly that we have these items on the district needs statement. So that it's a way for us to say, wait, take a look, these are the prioritized items, and they can come and take a better look at our district needs statements, because it was just published.
Right.
It's an opportunity to highlight to them, wait a second, this is on our district needs statement. So,
I believe, Gina, if I
yes,
can add an additional comment. I mean, it's very clear because I didn't read it extensively, as probably you did, but I went through and a couple of items. I was, WNYC Transmitter Park, which I also sit in the steering committee of the Friends of Transmitter Park. But generally, you know, there is a statement that has been well accepted by city planning that of what we really our community need. And I believe our council member, our borough president, and all our public representative, you know, I believe they're very well aware. I'm assuming, unfortunately, we can't control. I mean, and of course, what Dell is saying is very important. We got to keep putting pressure. I don't think, as I mentioned to you in a conversation we had before, there is just an issue of us to do any additional outreach or whatever city planning was questioning us. I believe it's very clear. It's very clear to city planning that we have a growing population. Going back to park, if we need a restroom in a park that now has to serve 50,000 more people, it's kind of unquestionable that we need to have a restroom. He says clearly there is a growing number of family and children in the community. So if you have a playground and a park that serve 50,000 people and you don't have restroom of any type, it's kind of, it also stated together with the issue of not having an hospital in Greenpoint and Williamsburg. It also states very clearly that we have an elderly and aging population, and then many times because there are no hospitals, rely on the fire department with the, you know, for the defibrillator and to provide this primary emergency care. This is a matter is kind of concerning with today with this population, with all the rezoning. And Dell, as a chair of the land use committee, knows very well. You know, it's kind of really astonishing that we don't have an hospital. And maybe I've been younger enough to think that I didn't need it, but now my needs are changing, you know, health-wise, and I'm assuming there's many other people. So thinking that people rely on a fire department, which we also have a request, our fire department is not sufficiently serving the number of population and the high-rise building that now we have. So I don't know more clear than this, Gina. Yes, we could do, to answer what you know, you were asking me. We could do additional outreach. I don't think we should do any outreach. We should write probably make a motion from your committee and and write additional letter, to the mayor, to our council office, to the borough president, and keep hammering on these. I believe those are emergency, and of course I have question why there is no, WNYC Transmitter Park, number 3. I mean, it's amazing. We are number 3 on the list, right? And we've been asking for 10 years since the inception of that park, which it started as a long battle with Jerry in 1989, I believe. I mean, it's amazing. And the park was given to us, but we don't have a restroom. And there's other issue, I don't know. That's what I was focusing because I work, and we went on number 3 because of our work with our Friends Parks group. But
It was included in the district. I thought that our statement was very clear because it was included that the Friends of Transmitter Park were advocating for this restroom in the district needs statement. So I think the best, I would say that if we can have the next meeting, if I can invite the liaison to answer these questions for us and to help us understand why some of these statements, I felt the majority said no funding, or funding is not available at this time, or funding project has not been funded. I mean, is there a possibility it will be funded? Just to explore. And this district needs statement is preliminary. That means that we still have opportunities to talk about it and to reach out and to use it to reach out to the elected officials. So it's a beginning for us to address these statements.
And then I will conclude in regard to the outreach. That we have been very active as outreach committee because the office has been definitely understaffed. We didn't want to burden Joanna being alone, because yes, we can make a recommendation as a committee. We did it before. We created Twitter account, an Instagram account, and all the idea, but we need the office, because the committee, doing that, it's a job. So we can continue to make recommendation, hopefully, and Joanna has publicly offered that she will be able to probably take care of the social media. So if that is a form of outreach, we could do that. And I also had offered, we were approved with the full board voted when I made a request. We made a request that we could go. We have a tent available. We could be present. We could go to McCarran Park, is in the center probably of our community, the farmers market, and probably for the first time, we could be present at McCarran Park on a Saturday. I mean, it's an added work on top of so it's not something we do all the time, but we could organize if that's more than maybe to inform people that don't even go on our website. And maybe there could be a form of doing outreach outside of the social media, but probably to hear what the possibility are from the liaison. Probably that's a good process, Gina.
Yes, I mean, my thinking in working with the liaison this year is that they're very familiar in how they do outreach, and the tools that they can give us in terms of ideas in be able to follow up on understanding why why are they saying that at this point there's no funding, when some of them I felt that I think one is Transmitter Park, one is the handball court, and then there's the fire station. I mean, they've been on this district needs statements for years, and there's been a large group of people in the community who've been pretty much vocal about it. So just to follow up, I would say on all our district needs statements with the committees, because I think every committee has to begin to be involved with the district needs statements as well. But I think the first step is to work with a liaison to see the tools that they can give us. Now we do have, I wanted Eric to speak a little bit more, because we have about 18 items on the district needs statements that are part of the transportation, and your committee has been working on the district needs statements on the transportation. So what ideas do you have, Eric?
Thanks, Gina. So we haven't really dug Paul. I was hoping he was going to be on the call because Paul's done the major work on it. Try to pull up that email. And I'm sorry, did you say that we had the latest posted up on the website? Because I only see the
Hey, it was just posted today on our website.
okay, because I'm only seeing 2022 for some reason, but
A fiscal year 2024 was able to, today they were able to publish it onto our website.
Going on
Okay.
main page on the kiosk, and you see.
yeah.
I think what I'm thinking of doing is I'm going to invite Liaison from City Planning to work with us to help us understand better what we can do in terms of advocating for these district needs. Why there's no funding, what's the next step to do? Maybe there will be funding in the future. But the other thing I really want is for all the committees to begin to work on the district needs statements. Because there are items on there that they might not agree that should continue on there. There might be new items that they want to add to the district needs statement. So I like to see if I can also ask for that.
Okay, so I'm sorry. I just had to. I thought I had it at my head. I still don't see it, but that's all right. We'll get back to it. So
On my Excel here.
there's been some, there's some back and forth. We were trying to do a subcommittee, which we're not going to do now. And then I had spoken to Dialis about the suggestion that came out of the executive committee saying that, just a straight working group would be fine. But then after talking to Dialis, she was concerned that it might need to be an open meeting. And I had been trying desperately through Marianne Church and Asher to get a response from Borough Hall, if that is actually the case. But as we all know, Borough Hall can be a black hole for getting responses. So I'm still waiting to hear from them. Because if we don't need to make it an open meeting and just be like a working group, we can actually update the list that I had asked Paul to put together, comparing the old district needs, because some of that stuff just needs to be updated or is resolved, and it just it's in there. But he had put in a lot of different traffic calming, a lot of capital stuff. Because transportation is all capital. It's all capital projects, right? So and we've but there's well, I shouldn't say it's all capital, because some of it can be done within the what's called the DOT toolkit. So there's stuff like paint and other things that aren't technically capital that can be worked in. So a lot of it is a lot of focus on the initial draft is safety focused, which is fine. But we also need to get into the capital things where I guess this is all safety, but it's a little bit more dense, where we need new street lights, additional lighting,
Yes, completely. Mhm.
sidewalk improvements. I know, well, I haven't talked to Joel Gross about this in a minute, but I know his NYCHA complex is still, trying to get upgrades in their sidewalks, which haven't happened, or haven't happened to their satisfaction. I have to circle back with him about it. And Joel used to be on the transportation committee. I'm sorry he's not on anymore, because he was a really great member.
Gross, on this committee, Joel.
Joel Gross?
Yes, he is. He is on this committee.
Yeah. Yeah, I love working with Joel. He's just really practical and just gets right to the point. but I know he has that concern, and we're still trying to figure that out. So like I said, the list that Paul sent around is it's safety heavy, which is fine, but we need to dig down a little bit and get more into the infrastructure, and hopefully what we might have to wind up doing is just and this is something that Karen Nieves had suggested, is to just put a Google Doc together and just start sharing it with the committee, and just have them edit it and fill it in and put comments on it, so that we can put it on the agenda for June, and write it up and get it to you by September.
Okay, okay, no, that sounds good. That sounds good because you're getting a head start in terms of the committee reports. So you would work with your committee, and then you would say by September you would be able to let the capital budget committee know your report.
Yeah, I think so. And we had two of our most time sucking and endurance items last week. The Meeker Avenue update, and although it was a terrible update by DOT, and the final Berry Street. So now that we still have to do McGinnis probably next month, which will take up the whole meeting. But I think the May and the June meetings can be more housekeeping type stuff, unless DOT brings something to us that we need to review and get to the board.
Okay, good. I like that plan. It's a really good plan for us to work together. And um, when I have the liaison scheduled for the next committee meeting, everybody's welcome to attend, and we can work with them also.
Eric, I have a question for you. Maybe you can answer. So now, for example, with Meeker or Berry, are these work? How are they going to be funded? Are these going to fail in this district need of 2024? How is the DOT is going to allocate the funds to whatever work needs to be done? Are they going to
Well,
be?
yeah. Well, the way I understand it is that the Open Streets project is it's now its own department within the DOT. So the money that they have, it's a citywide fund for open street projects. I'm sure there's some internal DOT metric where they're saying, okay, District 1 has been allotted X million dollars to do this, but that's all. Because this program has been in there, that money is all secured and isn't, it's allocated within DOT, from what I understand. And then Meeker is also, that money had been allocated, probably 3 years ago, I would say, because this is all part of, it's just a continuum. So that is already budgeted. The whole Meeker improvement thing, and the fight that we had with the meter parking and all that other stuff, that's all baked in the cake already. So that's already been allocated, from what I understand. I mean, there may be other, they may need other budgetary things, but that's happening at a department level.
No, I was asking because I was reading, and then when today this came out, and of course stuff were not founded. I was, of course, we know with Parks Department what the issue is. That's chronic because the funds are very low. But there may be item on transportation, which you may be working for years before I was even in community board, and and I was wondering, is this I don't know, Meeker will go first when there is stuff you have been battling for years, and that is disregarded. Wouldn't be fair either in terms how I prioritize in terms of district needs. If we were listed in a number of priority.
Yeah, I mean, well, the fight with Meeker, about Meeker, that
Meeker,
goes back.
Berry, whatever new things will come out.
Yeah. No, that Meeker battle goes before I was on the board, and a lot of it was, visioning and things like that. But in terms of priority, I mean, for whatever reason, they decided to give District 1 the longest open street in the city, which is which is Berry Street. If there's a longer one, I haven't heard about it. And, you know, that's taking an incredible amount of capital from the DOT budget to make that happen, even though, you know, it's like just in a lot of cases just paint and things like that. But now that we've seen the full, and Sante, I think you were at the last transportation committee, so you saw that presentation.
Yeah, you know, it was a big thing, so I want to
Yeah.
understand, you know,
But
what
from what I understand is that money is allocated because the project goes back to well, it would have been set up last year when they decided that they were finally going to stop, you know, relying on volunteers to run it because it's a city program. Hello, you know, so there's still the Berry Street, the Open Street Alliance, and all that happening, but it's funded in a different way than it was when De Blasio just threw it out there.
No, just curious to understand, because it's always difficult, as you said, is the mystery of whatever happened internally, right? But it would be great to understand, you know, that everything, you know, gets done, you know, and if we have a street and payment and sidewalk and so many things. I mean, I don't know, the more you walk around, you feel the entire city has been in a state of abandonment, you know,
Yeah.
with construction and
Sure.
the things that surround us. So,
And
but okay.
just one of the just in terms of money for Berry Street. So thankfully, because that was never something I felt was workable, is Driggs is no longer an open street and is not going to be an open street from what I understand from Kyle and Rhonda. So whatever money that was going to be allocated for Driggs obviously has been put into, I don't know where I haven't had that, you know, granular budget conversation with, you know, Rhonda or Keith or anybody, but since money is, from what I understand, you know, community district specific, just as a way for the bureaucracy at DOT to kind of like work, it makes it easier for them, that whatever money was allocated for Driggs is now doesn't need to be spent. So I assume, because they went a little heavy on what they're doing on Berry Street, is that money got moved over to Berry Street. But the granular details, I don't know. And I don't even know that Rhonda could explain that.
Clarify
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But probably at a certain point they will have to clarify. So, but for us, when we talk about district need and what are the list and the priority, I don't know, parks number 3, and of course is money from different departments. But at the end of the story is also money coming from the city that is allocating to different departments based in this need. So
Sure. I
so
mean,
it's
actually,
important
you're
to know what is the priority. I mean, I care about that restaurant. The community care about this restaurant, WNYC Transmitter Park. 1989, we said we want to have a park. So it would be great, whatever, if we can iron all these issues and have everything that we needed in the proper order too.
yeah, sure.
But thank you, Eric. Thank you.
But just one other thing that I just had a thought while you were talking, Sante, and for Gina too. You know, maybe, you know, if I can get an answer by the next 2 weeks or whatever, if we have to do the Google Doc thing, which is fine, really. It's kind of a at your own leisure process, but it might be good in advance of probably the June meeting is maybe I can get a meeting with Rhonda and a couple committee members and maybe somebody from the Borough Commissioner's office to have like a quick Zoom meeting and just go through the district needs and say, you know, just to review it with them, with DOT, and try to get a sense of, you know, where they're coming from in terms of priority, and maybe they'll tip their hat a little bit and we'll get a different insight. So thanks for planting that seed, Sante. I'll think about that a little more.
Yeah, no, because you know, I know this definitely is going to raise question in the future. It would be good we have it in advance. And as you said before, this is going to require enormous resources right, in monetary resources.
Mhm,
And yes, you make some assumption, the closed rigs, but whatever, we have a general need. I wasn't following, but you know very well, street repair and things.
Yeah,
You know,
sure.
we should have the department not disregarding certain things and doing everything. I don't know in
Yeah,
what
I mean,
order,
I mean,
whatever.
just not to get too into the weeds, but like, street repair and whatever, that's all baked into the city budget, Kate. Like that's a DOT allocation at the city level. So like,
Mhm.
that's why we get those street repaving schedules and all that other stuff. So that's not, we don't have to worry about that. That's something
Oh,
that
okay.
the city has to do. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But if there's a specific street that's in disrepair for like a reason beyond, like, well, Grand Street, for example, which I'm constantly crying about because of all the now with the Gherkin that they have, Beacon that they've had the crane trying to put in the elevator at Grand Street. That whole stretch, and we're having a meeting with Jen about it next week. But oh my God, like it needs serious reinforcement and redo. Anyway, sorry, getting the weeds, but that's
Okay,
it for me.
thank you, Eric.
Okay.
That's all.
So,
Okay, no, good. I mean, I think it's a good way for us to work together with the committees, and I think with the Transportation Committee working on this Google Doc and reviewing the work that's been done, the work that needs to be done, and the district needs statements for this coming 2024, 2025. It's an opportunity that we're working now that I think all the committees can follow the same steps that Transportation Committee is taking.
just one last thing, Gina. So it's up on the website, but did it get sent to us to be forwarded around in an email? The
Yes,
responses?
yes,
Okay,
yes, yes. I send it to the committee members. Yes, I think Joanna sent it to everybody as well.
trying to find that now, but there's,
I send it to the full board, and Eric, I think I just sent it to you.
just now you did
Yes.
the best. Okay, great, thanks.
Okay, so I think what we can do going forward, I'm going to have another meeting in April. We're going to plan to have a liaison from the city planning to guide us because they have offered that guidance, and we can. I will present this report at the full board meeting, and I will highlight these district needs statements that actually we're requesting have not received the funding, and and provide some of the ideas, talk about some of the ideas we have talked about here, so we can move forward in advocating for them. Any other ideas or feedback or questions? Okay, then I guess at this point I will end the meeting, and we will meet again. I wanted to have meetings once a month from now until June, and we'll make the meetings. Joanna, Johanna,
Yes.
I think Thursday evenings is not taken, right, in terms of meeting time. There's a lot. I had a very hard time scheduling this meeting.
For this month we're completely booked. For next month, I know that Eric has I'm not mistaken, he has the April 20. He has a Thursday, the third Thursday. And then I will have to check for every Thursday. Yeah.
Okay. And Deltique, how is Deltique? How is Thursday for you in April?
Well, I'm not, in all honesty, we've never met once a month before, so I didn't realize this would be added to my schedule. I can tell you that I am not available on the 13th. I don't even know if that's a day you were thinking of, but that right, as I look at it, the 13th, I am not available.
Okay. Okay, I'll look at the dates and I'll see what days work for.
Okay,
And I'll try to see if I can bring the liaison into
okay,
presentation in terms of how we can work on strengthening the district needs and some of the tools we can use in outreach.
I don't know how the 27th is. That looks like it would be good for me. I don't know.
I think the 27th would be good for me too. We'll do it on the 27th,
Okay,
and we can do it earlier. We can do 6:30.
sure.
Okay, this was a late meeting today, but I wanted just to begin talking about the district needs statement.
Okay.
It's just published. Okay, so I think we will end for today. Thank you for coming, and hope we can all continue working together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks for everything.
Thank
you
you.
did. Great job.
Thank
Thanks,
you, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Good night, all.